in this like mini transition. I'm McKenna. I'm a senior here at HB, and I've done the Writers Festival for the past 4 years, and wanted to just say a little bit about how it's impacted me. So last year when I was on spring break, I was visiting colleges out on the West Coast, and Eliza Fisher, she's a senior agent at the Stephen Barclay Agency, called me up and asked me to come out to dinner with her, invited my dad and me both out to dinner, and she brought a picnic for a drive down the coast the next day, and we got to spend time with her. And she's one of the people that made it possible for us to have Marjan Satrapi and Naomi Shihab-Nye and Alexandra Fuller and all these incredible people. And I made that connection because I was able to talk with her the year before about her service in the prisons and spent a whole period just talking with her. And that's only possible because of the Writers Festival. So I've worked with David Giffords, Naomi Shihab-Nye, Sarah Kay, Alexandra Fuller, and every single one of those workshops has both put me in the most comfortable place and the most uncomfortable place. I've been able to go out on a medium strip out there by Ben & Jerry's and meditate with Alexandra Fuller in front of all the cars and everything. And I've also been able to work on my presentation on stages with Sarah Kay when I have probably the most terrifying case of stage fright. Maybe second tiers, but and so as I go forth and look at colleges, I am looking for the Writing Center again in the college. I'm looking for the Writers Festival. I'm looking for these things that I've had the chance to do at HB that I did not think was even possible on this planet. And I'm truly so incredibly grateful for the chance to take those risks with these amazing people that totally changed my life. I mean, they come back and they know our names, and that's completely unheard of. And then they ask about the colleges we're looking at, and they ask about the sports that we play, and they're so invested in our own growth, and the fact that we can get them to come back year after year is so incredible. And it's been a completely life-changing ride for me, so thank you for all that you guys do to help make that possible.
If I were sky literate, I would have read gospel right out from God's twilight mouth, and it would burn holes in my eyes and spill tears of joy. But instead, I walk amongst the beautiful people disguised as devils, because my eyes were clouded and ears deaf to salivated raindrops, knees to church floor, hands pressed, amen, amen, hallelujah, amen. Back when my glacial world was my lifeguard, and we trekked through snow arduously, but days recklessly. Back when hot tea and mismatched mugs thawed hands, noses, and frozen hearts, and the sun rose between my toes, and we lent each other our soles and pilled wool socks. The heat finally reached me, and I breathed again. A snowman melted, a real woman learned to love. So I wrote it down in the wood furnace, and when it burned to cinders, I buried it in the ground. Maybe it will surface again in a frost heave. But like our frostbitten toes, my frostbitten heart will shed its skin to illuminate living cells. Like the snow that piled up to our thighs, I will radiate our gasping life.
This is untitled. Restless figure stands transfixed before a silver pane, examining white threaded hair, dim clouded eyes, rivers and borders mapped across her face and throat. Turning her head this way and then the other, she strains to see the image beyond the looking glass. Snowbird perched on window's edge, precariously on the brink of freedom, sharpest white against an ebony frame. Once upon a time, the queen marveled at the Seine forest, distant fog-embraced mountains. Now she reaches out to grasp the watery reflection, tempted to shatter her cage. But she knows better. Shards reflect both light and dark.
I apologize, I'm a little under the weather. This is also untitled. Before you dream of me tonight, First, you must know that my words flow like a Mercury river, but I'd build a dam if I could hear you talk forever. I've never been an affectionate person, but I wouldn't mind if you held my hand. You should know that I don't remember living with my dad and that some of these lights are off, yet through the darkness I try still to remember the sun. And when your eyes widen with excitement and passion, I wonder how I could ever resign to oblivion. I wish I could forget the concept of perfection, but you remind me of it every day. Sitting in this car with you as my navigator, I'm headed in the right direction. So before you go to sleep tonight, you must know that my heart smolders sincerity and November is fleeting. I fear that time will set on you too, and I'll be left alone in the cold, dark shadow of the moon.
Instructions. Slam the door as if it wasn't made of glass. The door can be repaired. The human soul cannot. Scream as loud as if nobody was to hear you. If they do, they'll understand. Run in a hallway as if there was a chase behind you. You're fast. You'll reach the finish first. Crash the party as if it was your last one. Forget about the day. The night is all for you. Look for the flowers as if it was in winter. Sometimes the crocuses grow under snow. Jump into the abyss as if you couldn't fall. You have the wings. Believe that you can fly. Kiss the rise of the sun as if they were your friends. Beware of the moon is only a reflection. Smile as if the smile was eerie. Just try.
When most people hear the word Oreo, they may think of a delicious cookie with the hard brown outside and the sweet, sugary inside. To me, it brings back painful memories of being alone as the white sheep in this dark flock, because I spoke in a way that was not black enough for my elementary school. And even when I was dunked into the glass of milk that was my high school, my personality did not match what they believed I should taste like. But you know what? If being an Oreo means that I'm proud of myself, my studies, and my histories, then I'll say it out loud. I'm an Oreo, and I'm proud. Who wouldn't want to be an Oreo anyway? I'm a delicious cookie with a hard brown outside and a sweet, sugary inside, who is extra special because I was made with brown sugar, cinnamon spice, and that makes me all the more nice.
Everything is going to turn out okay. I know this. And yet, I can taste the blood on the inside of my lip from where I've bitten it so much that I've created an open wound. My wide-eyed and wobbling worries peep up from their hole as if to remind me they're there. As if I didn't know. Stress nibbles away at my brain like my teeth did to my inner cheek. The college process. Lurking beneath the oceanic depths of my mind, omnipresent and often surfacing enough to swallow me whole in its great jaws. I swim and I swim and I swim, but I cannot escape. It grabs my foot between its jaws and pulls me down to the part of my brain that doesn't trust itself. I can see the cursor hovering above the review and submit button, and I can hear the click of the mouse pad that opens an email titled, "Your admissions decision." And I keep sinking farther and farther like I'm stuck in quicksand. It consumes me as I resist and I fight, and then I stop. I stop fighting myself. I stop thinking about the sour candy that gets more sour the more you suck on it. Sour, sweet, gone. But I'm stuck on step one. I stop thinking about the way it feels to run too fast and stub your toe on the table, or to run too slow and miss the flight. I relax, and it spits me back out. I land on my stomach with my face in the grass. I can smell the freshness of day, and I can feel the dew moisten my skin. And I feel the bump in my mouth where the wound used to be, but it hurts much less now. Everything is going to turn out okay.
Okay, so this is not a poem, this is actually a short essay, and it's a true story. least in the gift-giving world. My parents say that I was generally anti-competitive to the point of concern as a child, but when it comes to giving gifts, it's like a second job. Amy is one of my best friends, if not my best friend. She's gorgeous, athletic, and just enough crazy to keep her interesting. She always has my back, and I couldn't think of a better way to repay her that summer for all she'd done for me than with a killer 18th birthday gift. When I came up with the idea for the gift months before her party, I immediately thought I'd knocked it out of the park. It was big, with a price tag to match, personal, and something she could put on display. Essentially, the massive collage of her teenage years was what I thought a good gift was supposed to look like. At her party that June night, it was the best gift given. I'm not saying this because I gave it, I'm saying this because it's true. When she tore through the Disney Princess wrapping paper and looked up at me, it was the closest I'd ever come to seeing Amy cry. She had the biggest smile on her face and dragged me into the tightest hug I'd ever known. In that moment, I felt accomplished as her friend and thought I'd been able to make a time in her life tangible through the perfect selection of photographs. We should probably talk about Jared. He was Amy's boyfriend and undoubtedly one of the most beautiful humans to ever walk this earth. They were both pretty people with even better personalities, and if you put them together in the same room, they made you feel warm and fuzzy, like you were lying under this hot summer sun. You could say I spent enough time with them that summer that I'd been burned for the first time in my life. It was inevitable that I put an entire row, possibly two, of Amy's pictures with him on her poster, but at the time, Jared felt like a permanent addition to Amy's life. She hung it proudly in her room for a solid 6 months. There wasn't much artwork in there to begin with, but the framed poster was always the first thing that caught my eye. It was a reminder that I had given her something she loved, something she was proud of. Amy broke up with Jared in October. Ask anyone what it was like, and they'll probably tell you it was a pretty standard breakup. But to me, and probably only me, it felt like a nuclear explosion. You could say it threw me for a loop, or you could say it temporarily ruined my life. I was more upset than the both of them, and I had to learn how to be a good friend to Amy in the post-Jared phase. I realized I didn't really know her without him, and there was nothing more bittersweet than relearning who Amy was. I felt ashamed of only seeing her as half of a good relationship. So when she took down the poster, I thought I deserved it, but nothing could emotionally prepare me for what happened next. We were getting ready for some big social event on a Friday night. I was lounging on Amy's bed in her newly redecorated room, and Amy was off taking a shower. As my eyes absentmindedly scanned the room, I landed on a frame behind the door. There hung the collage in all of its glory, with Post-it notes over Jared's face. Post-it notes. I paid $150 for a tribute to her teen years, to her friendships, to a happy time in her life, and she put Post-it notes over Jared's face. At first, I couldn't breathe, out of shock, but the moment my exhale passed my lips, I was furious. I whipped around and punched her pillow like Floyd Mayweather with $1 million on the line. Maybe I was mad at her, maybe I was mad at myself, or maybe I was mad at the world for slowly changing our lives. It was like one day the leaves are all green and healthy, but before you know it, they're red and exploding off the trees like a million little breakups with Jared. Life changes all the time, with people growing apart and friendships being made and broken, yet we never see the changes as they happen. I never asked Amy about the Post-it notes. I don't know why she decided to put the picture back up in the first place, but seeing it like that made me feel even more guilty than when she took it down. Maybe she put it back up to not make me feel bad, or maybe there was just a space on the wall that had to be filled. Either way, that poster is no longer a gift. If the past hurts that much to look at, then maybe it's not ready to be revisited. I love the feeling of looking at happier times, but melancholy isn't for everyone. Jared was a growing pain, and I don't want Amy to keep a sad part of her life on display just because I got a gift wrong. That row of Jared was inevitable, but so were the changes. I'm always going to love Amy, regardless of how hot her latest boyfriend is, or if she even has one at all. But I'm also going to love those moments where we were all happy that summer. I may not have given the greatest gift of all time, aka it was a ticking time bomb, what was I thinking? But now I know that I possess the best gift of all. I can look at the past with a smile on my face, even when the Post-it notes are gone, and I hope someday Amy can too.
This is called I Can Breathe. The world is an ocean, overflowing with vibrant creatures that vary in color and capabilities, hands and hearts dripping with insecurities, treading against the current of shattered dreams and broken souls, striving to just stay afloat. But I am drowning in the fear of not being good enough. My lungs are shackled by the prison of my mind. My eyes burn with the salt of a love I can no longer find. I am blind, numb. But I am not done. Because every thump of my beating heart is a place I have not been and a person I have not met. So I will open my eyes and my lungs will break free and I will keep swimming.
Mine is a short story. There you go. It's called Hide and Seek Light. Chelsea had picked a really good spot. She was hiding between a dark juniper bush and the fence that encompassed the park where Tanner's birthday party was taking place. She squeezed her chubby thighs together, hoping to reduce her hulkish frame. She was determined that the other kids would not find her. Chelsea will be easy to find because she's fat, Tanner said matter-of-factly before beginning the count. He wasn't being rude, just factual. It had only hurt Chelsea a little. She shifted, annoyed by the juniper leaves that surrounded her, seeming like Tanner's words. Her stomach growled. Her mother had not let her have cake. Chelsea had reached eagerly for a piece along with the rest of the children, only for her mother to tap her wrist with her thick, hard nails and shake her head with self-avowed matronly piety. The doctor had said it was fine for a 9-year-old like Chelsea to be a little chubby, and that she would slim out once she reached puberty. However, there was no stopping Chelsea's mom when she had gotten her hands on a parental magazine extolling the virtues of the new, trendy, mommy-daughter diets. To her credit, she hadn't eaten any cake either. Chelsea sat for what felt like decades on the moldering, smelly wood chips that playground architects seemed to believe children love playing on. She did not know how long a decade was, but based on the way her 4 brothers used the word, it must mean at least several hours. At one point, Chelsea thought she had fallen asleep, but upon waking and finding herself in the same position, she figured she had imagined it. Another couple decades passed. Chelsea was now bored. She decided she hated hide and seek. All you do is sit and be quiet, hoping no one will notice you, like adults do, she thought miserably. What a stupid game. She began to crawl through a thick tunnel of spiny juniper, not caring whether she was found anymore. She emerged covered in bloody scratches and purple berry juice. She looked down at her arms where the blood and the berry juice mixed to form violet. Purple is my favorite color, she thought, pleased. She got up from her knees and surveyed the park. The picnic table where the cake had been was empty, except for a few leftover napkins. The playground was completely deserted, save a singular hobo snoozing on one of the benches. Everyone left, Chelsea thought, annoyed. This wasn't the first time this had happened. Chelsea had 4 brothers, and it was only reasonable that her mother couldn't always keep track of all 5 of her wayward children. A breeze picked up, and the stray napkins tumbled through the empty expanses of wood chips. In the back of Chelsea's head, a suspenseful banjo played an old tune from a spaghetti western her father had once forced her to watch with him. It's a ghost town, she thought, and grinned. And I'm the sheriff. Smugly, Chelsea unfolded the $5 bill she had stolen from her oldest brother in the car on the way to the party. Triumphant, she waddled off to the ice cream shop she knew was just down the road. She was going to get a triple fudge sundae.
This is a creative nonfiction piece, meaning it's based on a true story. It's called Gaming, Gift Giving, and Going Ham. It was the autumn of 8th grade, and I was about to jump face first into the most intense social responsibility known to awkward tweens, selecting the perfect birthday gift for my friend Timothy. I expect that for normal, well-adjusted people, this was not the Herculean task I was making it out to be. Timothy was not a particularly hard person to shop for. He's not picky or snobbish or ungrateful. He's a nerd, which opens up the door to a wide variety of gifts as well. And he also likes video games. I mean, he really likes video games. You can name any popular game, and I guarantee he's either played it or tried to pirate it. Anything from Portal to Dota 2 to Call of Duty is no match for his might. He'll spring random video game slang like noob, GG, and get wrecked during casual conversation. On Halloween, he dressed up as Link from Legend of Zelda, and he can play Super Smash Bros. Brawl like nobody's business. One time at a Science Olympiad tournament, if you don't know what that is, it's basically a competition to see which school can effectively out-nerd each other. There's a Smash Brothers tournament for anyone from 6th to 12th grade as a way to pass the time before the award ceremony started. As a measly 6th grader, Timothy was able to crush the competition and win his section. Keep in mind that Science Olympiad is basically 100% Mega Geeks. So now I was faced with a predicament.
It was absolutely certain that a video game themed gift would be perfect, personalized, and useful. However, I was absolutely, positively, completely certain that everyone else going to the party knew this too. And I was also absolutely, positively, completely, 100, totally, unanimously, entirely, wholly certain that everyone else was going to give him a video game too. And that would be disastrous. What kind of message would it send to Timothy if everyone gave him the same type of present? I had a feeling he would be slightly disappointed in all of us. He had all these friends, and the only thing we could think of was video games. Additionally, it would be even worse if I accidentally mimicked the gift, because I just knew that Timothy would passive-aggressively hate me for being that kid who lacked the originality and empathy to figure out how to give him a proper present. But if I tried to opt out of the entire fiasco and just give him money, it would be immediately apparent that I didn't care about friendship as much as I cared about the cake at the party, which isn't true, I swear. It was at this moment that I went slightly obsessive. Desperate to find the perfect balance between personalized and unique, I parachuted directly into the jungle of Amazon.com. For weeks, I trained my Google Fu in the Chrome Temple, repeatedly searching and tagging and filtering millions of results. I even dared to venture into more exotic territory like Dude, I Want That, and This Is Why I'm Broke.com. After cutting down swaths of possible ideas, I finally settled on a gift, a simple remote control helicopter. I thought it was perfect, but then again, I am a slightly deranged adolescent whose rational reasoning skills haven't completely developed yet, so take that how you will. The helicopter was small and unobtrusive, but still constructed with grace and style. The polished aluminum frame intersected with stylish blue plastic to complete a slim and defined form. Directed by a handset reminiscent of old game console controllers, the helicopter had the quality of a video game with a twist. I wrapped it in green and blue striped wrapping paper and tied the package with a shiny silver ribbon. To finish off the gift, I wrote a personalized card with a hand-drawn cartoon of Timothy as Toon Link, shouting for Pootis and charging victoriously into battle. Basically, it was, as Timothy would say, utter pottage. Victoriously, I stowed my gift away safely until the day of the party. It wasn't long before the date rolled by. At that point, my anticipation had grown to the point where, instead of just feeling like bursting, I had formed a Class G star of excitement on the Hertzsprung-Russell diagram that had shed off its outer layers in a planetary nebula and was now a white dwarf sifting off the mass of a larger star until reaching the Chandrasekhar limit to explode in Class 1A supernova. I carefully guarded my package during the car ride to Timothy's house. At that point, I had depended so much on the gift that I might have even sacrificed my own life in an auto accident if it meant getting Timothy's present out unscathed. When I finally arrived at the destination, thankfully without any flashy heroic sacrifice with a slightly embarrassing obituary, I hoisted the covered helicopter above my head like the Ark of the Covenant and marched up the driveway. By the time I made it to the front door, Timothy's smiling mother had already spotted my grandiose arrival and opened the door just for me inside. Entering my final destination, I scanned my surroundings to deduce the location where I deployed my supply drop. I quickly spotted a gift basket filled with confetti and stuffed with multicolored envelopes. Took a moment to process this, and when my mind had caught up, I was horrified. Envelopes could only contain two things: gift cards or money. I was absolutely disgusted. These people have no shame. Timothy was their friend. Someone they'd known for years. How could they have possibly messed this up? Out of almost a dozen people, was I the only one that braved the social terrors of gift giving to obtain anything significant? Indignantly, I set the package on the table, a monument to friendship among a barren landscape of materialism. As it stood there, a lone monolith among fragile scraps of paper and plastic, I briefly wondered who was actually right.
Oh, I have a poem. It's called Darrow, which is the name of a major street where I live. Yeah, I was there too for inspiration. Fallen leaves are tripping hazards. Failing to notice the outspoken spectrum of orange, yellow, and red warnings will deliver you face first into the strained and frosted earth, and your red wind-blushed cheek will blanket the cheek of a lucky red wind-blown leaf. And for once, since the nostalgic summer and the last of its dirt-dune life, it will feel unmistakable warmth.
This is a poem about my summer camp this past summer. they drew them on letters home. The washed glasses fogged as we stacked 4 different cup styles: reverse hourglass, whiskey, chocolate milk, and military straight. We laid on rugs and drew in sand and mud. We danced in circles, and then 2 Swedish lakes chew the sun and swallow the sky. He asked for cigarettes on the beach, and we sat adjacent to train tracks. Candle wax goodbyes to mountain overhead compartments. I came in, said hello to the back room, and added it to my hand. I should tattoo it or staple it on. There's nothing temporary about itchy eyes from wildflowers and curled wood chips on fire.
This is untitled. Before you dream of me tonight, you must know that I have stayed up to wonder about you. Before you run through untouched snow, to leave your breath hot on my windows, you must know the book I'm reading is upside down, and the story in my head is about you. Before you suck on frozen fingers and pull the cold through veins like straws, before your teeth come down on each other again and again, you must know if you knocked, I'd let you in.
This poem's called Arno. It's about a river in Italy. The lazy Champagne River flowed deep through the heart of the city, romancing every bridge's cobblestone belly. The river giggled against the sun for a little while, basking in the virgin touch of mid-morning heat. The river, with her impatient mouth, ate all the pastries that morning, took a child's flute and played her favorite lullaby, all while flirting with the mountains protruding in the sapphire sky. The river showed a lot of skin that night, let a handsome man sing her off to sleep, and washed him off before he could offer her coffee, left him damp with the memory of a starry night. The river flowed through the heart of the city, and as the baker opened his shop window, she picked out a cake to send to her mother, smiled with her teeth, and hummed all the way home.
The first time I saw it, I lost my breath, like how I do after 18 hours in the car on the way to Maine and the salty air first comes crashing over me like the waves on the beach not 100 feet away. But right now, I'm not on an island in Maine. I'm in Berkshire, Vermont, searching for my breath like I search for sea glass in the sand among people that I don't really know after only 3 days, but will soon become very close partners in crime. People who will let me open myself up so they can see what's in my brain, what runs through my veins, what pulls at my heartstrings, what makes me sing. But as I stare at the vast immenseness before me, I can't help but struggle to take it all in. My eyes darting from peak to peak, each summit competing with its neighbor like my sister and I did when we were little on the playground. Who can pierce the sky first? My senses are on overload, like when I first walk into Tommy's and hear plates clanking and people laughing and the milkshake machine whirring, but my eyes settle for lazily gazing across the horizon. My pupils trace the peaks like kindergartners trace the continents. The mountains turn blue as they fade farther and farther away. The first time I saw it, it stole my breath, refusing to return it to me until I admired its beauty, even though I knew I would anyway. I'm a worrier, but here I can't help but let my mind drift, my insecurities fading away like the blue mountains in the distance. Like that lone piece of sea glass that escapes your grip on the way back from the beach. When I returned home from Vermont, a piece of myself stayed behind.
This is a poem about leaving for college next year. This time, leaving doesn't mean back in 5 days. It doesn't mean one large carry-on, be back soon, or I'll clean my room when I get home. No. This time, it means leaving and separating, losing and goodbye. It looks like the remnants of what once was my closet, converted into storage space. Like my mother's thin face standing in the rain, engrossed by a too large pair of sunglasses she wears to hide her tears. It sounds like the thump-thump, thump-thump of a giant duffel bag that's too heavy to carry down the stairs. This time, I will be surrounded by things that are new. I will be excited, nervous, alone. It will look like fake texting to avoid having to stand for nothing but my own awkwardness. Like giant campus maps scrawled across the floor because I haven't memorized street names and can't find my way to class. It will feel like a sharp desk corner, jutting into the space where my belly meets my hip because I can no longer stumble to the bathroom in the dark. It will smell like my roommate's perfume, which slowly encompasses, nauseates, suffocates. I pretend to like it anyways. It will taste like the greasy 2 a.m. pizza shared with my friends. I will be friends. This time, leaving doesn't mean forgetting. Forgetting sounds like when you have to introduce yourself to your grandma, like the rapid writing and rewriting and erasing when you're stuck on an answer on a test. I am leaving, but I'm not forgetting. I am sharing and discovering and exploring. I am loving.
Hi, my name is Lila, and I participated in the songwriting part of the workshop. And this is a song about moving on, but still keeping relationships strong with people that you're close with. Day after day, time passes by, it's all the same. Then when you think nothing can happen, everything's changed. Never easy to just say goodbye. And everyone wants to know why. Everything is all wrong, and everything you planned for slips away. We'll never get tomorrow, and all we ever ask for is one more day. I'll stay close, even as I'm moving on. It won't be easy. Focus on memories we'll never forget. Taking it slow, minute by minute. Live for the moment. Never easy to just say goodbye. And everyone wants some more time. Everything is all wrong, and everything you planned for slips away. We'll never get tomorrow. Now all we ever ask for is one more day. I'll stay close, even as I'm moving on. Keep moving on. Everything is all wrong, and everything you planned for slips away. We'll never get tomorrow.